Друзья, снова привет. Мы все еще в Праге и ведем репортаж с Road to BlizzCon Европа. Сейчас пообщаемся с Эдриан Коем. Вы знаете его лучше как под никнеймом Lifecoach. Соревнования уже на сегодня для него закончились, и поэтому у нас есть возможность расспросить его обо всем, что интересно. Впервые общаемся с этим игроком, поэтому расспросим подробнее о его личности. То есть, мы мало знаем, что об этом, поэтому будем спрашивать подробно. Adrian, maybe you will tell about yourself a little, because it's first interview with you for Good Games. So
yeah, I'm Adrian Coy, life coach, and I'm pro Hearthstone player and also a streamer. Just won my ticket to BlizzCon, and that's really cool and awesome. And generally, I don't know, people know me as rope coach, people know me as the oldest player or one of the older player in the Hearthstone or general playing community. I think I'm actually carrying some kind of special role, also being kind of let's say, so yeah, it's actually a special role also. Also because there are younger people who also try to learn, and so always being somebody they can look up to or actually can learn from. I think that's really important for me. So I always try to get the best out of me possible. So not taking drugs, not drinking alcohol or stuff like that. Making sports on the other hand, and also being focused. Yeah, all kind of. But generally, I think people also know me for this kind of dedication and focus I actually put into this area. Also, kind of I also kind of try to prove that even if you lack a little bit of talent, you can make up for it with very hard work, with focus, with dedication. This is also what I stand for. Yeah.
Cool. And you also have a wife and 2 children, right?
That's right.
Is it difficult to be a gamer in this condition, in this grown-up life?
Well, it's always a question of how you manage your time and how professional you do things. So yes, I don't have time to watch television. That's right, but I also don't like to watch television because I think it's not really mandatory, which means the 5 or 6 hours other people watch television per day, I actually freed myself, and suddenly I have time for the gaming, for my profession, and also for my family. Yeah.
So, yeah, like a magic. You came from poker, right?
Well, I played poker before, yeah.
Yeah, and you changed from poker to Hearthstone. I understand, right?
Well, kind of. I quit poker. And yeah, I just quit poker, and Hearthstone happened to be the next thing. But I didn't transit. No, I didn't make the transition.
And then you saw this game, new game Hearthstone, and decided to try to play professionally here, right?
Oh, no, absolutely not. That was my sabbatical. I just did it for hobby purposes. So I actually was thinking what I do next, and because in the years I actually played poker, I forbid myself, but for me it was the chance to get financially independent. So I actually postponed everything, which meant postponing party, postponing everything what you do in your 20s. I actually postponed everything, and also playing computer games. I was always really fond of playing computer games, but I just found that it's not the right time if I can actually achieve financial independence now to actually go for it. And after this period, I decided to make a sabbatical, so just do what I want to do for a few months. So that was Hearthstone actually. So I actually pursued that for half a year, and then I actually wanted to quit. So I actually began streaming just to share my knowledge, and the idea actually was just to share the knowledge, and that was actually 1.5 years ago. And I actually just wanted to transfer my knowledge for whomever is concerned. And after that would have happened, I actually thought that I would quit this area, but then the feedback was so overwhelmingly positive that I actually always gave it another month and another month, and so that's where we are now basically.
So you want to be a teacher more than a player, right?
Well, I don't. Actually, I think it's really wrong to make this kind of distinction. No, really. Like it's always like like teacher-player. It's also like the school teachers, like being successful in business, or school teachers. I mean, perhaps that's why the school teachers are so bad at it. I mean, like in transferring knowledge, because they don't do these things themselves. I mean, it's also how I actually try to bring my children up. I try to be like to do what they can, like, so that they can actually learn from it by also imitating it. So being like a role model kind of person. And I think this is also the same in Hearthstone. I'm of course a Hearthstone gamer, and of course I pursue to maximize my playing strengths. But in doing so, I actually incorporate mechanism which can actually be copied in order to also be as successful. So it's no secret. It's not that I come here and say, hey, I'm here really good at Hearthstone, and it's something which came out of nowhere, and you are not that good, you cannot achieve that, and that's unlucky for you. It's not about that. Absolutely not. At the beginning I was also quite bad in any area. I mean, of course, if you are new at an area, you are bad at it. And I actually try to show the people that whatever, it mustn't even be Hearthstone, it could have been anything else. Like, but whatever it is, if you pursue it only hard enough, only focused enough, or only dedicated enough, you will eventually get there. Of course not within a week. Like, this is what people think. You pursue it, and after a week they say, yeah, but I still haven't achieved anything, so I quit it again. Yeah, because it's not a week. It's not about a week. It's also not about a month. Like, we are talking probably many months. Sometimes for other areas we're talking many years. Like in Hearthstone, it was possible to get this uprising after 1.5 years, but only because it's a complete new area. Everybody in this area is only like 1.5 or 2 years old, if you want to say so. But in other areas, whatever, in the real estate market or some things like that, you will need many years, and you will probably the first year you probably won't even see that great results. But if you only pursue it long enough, after some years, you will eventually see results. Yeah, and this is with anything in the life, as it is. Yeah, and this is something I want to actually transfer, and also want to show that it is actually possible. Also with the age. I mean, I will become 34 soon. And that's also like a myth. Like, people were saying, yeah, I mean, that's like what's in the mind of people, that they say, okay, esports, it's something for 18-year-old, 16-year-old, 20-year-old guys. Yeah, like 25-year-old, 25-year-old, you're already a dinosaur. Yeah, you're already way too old for that. And what's about 34? It's not about like what people think what's possible, but it's like about your will of pursuing things and what you think for yourself what's possible for you. Yeah.
So you gave a lot of advices to the gamers, maybe to people that are going to start anything, but maybe you will give some advices to starting gamers in Hearthstone. Maybe something about decks they could play, and or something more.
Okay, I think for starting purposes I'm probably not directly the right person to be asked, but I guess you simply do what you're passionate about. So I think, I mean, this getting started is always, I mean, getting started as what, as a pro player? I think you should first try it out casually, and I don't think it's too difficult to getting started casually in Hearthstone, because like that's what the Blizzard guys, I mean, there's $1 billion company behind that, only doing that, like incentivizing people who want to play it casually and trying to find even easier and easier ways for those people to get into this area. So I think there's really not much to become a casual Hearthstone player. I mean, you just download the game. You probably, like on the iPad, you do 2 clicks and then you downloaded the game, and then you are good to go. You're set to start. Yeah, so.
But if they want to be professional players in the future, what then you advise them?
As I said, but as I said, there are no beginners who. It's like if you start something like, for example, golf. You start golf now. Now you're asking me what would be your advices to pursue a professional golf career? How can you be as good as Tiger Woods? That's not the question you ask yourselves. If you begin with an area, like you first scout, you first find out whether you like it, whether you love it, whether you're passionate about it. If you're passionate about it, then you start to ask other questions. How can I get better in this area? At some point you will get competitive. and at some point, but that's much later, you will ask yourself how you can compete in competitive environment levels. But that's not like...
I see, and there is some thoughts that Hearthstone is not professional, is not esports discipline, because there is a lot of random in this game. What do you think about it? Do you agree?
Well, I mean, yes, there is some randomness in the game, and this is also why many people actually play it, because it's also possible for weaker players to actually also win games against stronger opposition. But at the same time, the long run is always the same. I mean, you don't see different people at the tournaments. You always see the same people at the tournaments, also in open brackets. And the reason for that is simply it's a skill game, yeah. And also to also bridge the boat to other games, I heard there's a lot of RNG also in other games. I know that, for example, StarCraft 2 is a pure like without any RNG directly, but it's still, for example, about builds, base building, like things you cannot scout, you have to assume, and it's a little bit RNG what your opponent sometimes does, and sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not, and that's also one of the reasons why sometimes matches go in the one direction, sometimes they go in the other direction. So yes, probably it's more RNG than in other games, but this doesn't make it a non-skill game, right?
It depends on players anyway. Right.
You see, it's simply like when every time like the same players are at the top. For example, here, like from Europe, like 3 players qualified. There are like 4 players actually, but 3 players like qualified, which were there last year too. So that's like Neria, Thijs, and me. And what about Osaka? Was he also there for last? I cannot remember, but I don't think so. No, he wasn't. But all I'm saying is these 3 players were last year also in the European qualifier. So there you see the consistency. Like if you just think about it, like 75% of the players who are now going from Europe to BlizzCon were there last year too. And that's like, the BlizzCon is a very fine example of that. Because the BlizzCon is non-invitation, it's completely open, everything. It's absolutely open. It's only qualifications, no invitation. Everybody on the world has exactly the same chances. And 2 advances from Europe are 3 guys, which were on the same European qualifier last year. Yeah, so that's like, I think, enough to tell how few RNG it is involved in the game.
So my next question about your hobby, I think. You visited a lot of countries, I know, right? You visited a lot of different countries, right? Yeah, you like to have a trip, right? And did you visit Russia?
Oh, actually, yeah, I haven't visited it, but yeah, I mean, so directly. I mean, it's also like Russia doesn't like produce so many tournaments, or they don't host so many tournaments. So it would definitely change if you. I mean, perhaps you like to host a tournament. I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, at the moment, the prestigious tournaments, they are built up mainly, Sweden, Europe, some in Germany, but. China now, like it's only about the country. If they host tournaments, people will come there. So if Russia want to make themselves a name also as a nationality, they should host tournaments, yeah, and people will come, and it will also help the esport community and so on, yeah. It's also exposure. I mean, there's a lot of money in the esports gaming, as already being proven. There are many companies who actually benefit from that. It's $1 billion market, so I think actually it's pretty. Yeah, I don't know, but perhaps it's. It should be definitely doable to, and also lucrative, like to do that. But it's not up to me, like.
Thank you for the interview. Maybe you will say some final words.
Yeah, I'm always happy, like. Yeah, to the community. I mean, I also know that I have a lot of Russian fans, and I'm always happy. I'm always happy, like, if I can talk to you, or also about the interaction. And I'm also really happy that actually the community grew like that. I mean, like half a year, 1 year ago, I didn't like ever imagine that it could get so popular. Also, like the messages, or that, so that many people will be excited about also like my approach to life, and I'm actually really happy. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure. If we play this, okay, if we proc his face, we don't even have lethal next turn, and yeah, he wins. What? What? Huh? Was? What?